Welcome to the June the 20th, 2006 pre-taping of It Happened in Grand Prairie, as we bring you the history of our city and some of the people that are very important in making this history. And they're even making history this very day. We are very, very excited today as we're bringing you a very special segment, a spotlight on Boys of the Year. And this is our history tape number 575. We are very excited. We have a wonderful young man on the dais with us today, along with a very splendid representative from the Grand Prairie ISD, Mr. Bill Crabtree, that is lovingly known to many of us as Dr. Bill Crabtree. And we're so pleased, Anthony Anderson, how delightful it is to welcome you to the dais.
I'm glad to be here.
Great, wonderful, and congratulations. Boy of the Year, wonderful, wonderful happenings. And with your permission, we have asked Mr. Bill Crabtree to read your bio today, because that's generally the way we introduce a Boy of the Month. And we've already done this for you at one time, but now as Boy of the Year, we wanted everyone to be refreshed about you. Okay. Mr. Crabtree.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Yes,
it's
sir.
certainly my pleasure
to
do that. Anthony is the proud son of Barry and Gina Anderson of Grand Prairie. He is a recent graduate of Grand Prairie High School, and some of his activities included president of the Varsity Drama Club. Then he was a member of the show choir, a member of the student council, a member of the National Honor Society, a member of the top 10% of his graduating class, senior class vice president, and Ms. Jackson, I saved the best for last.
Oh, I bet you did.
He is the current University Interscholastic League state champion in poetry in Class 5A for the entire state of Texas.
Entire state, isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He also enjoys some hobbies such as basketball, music, relaxing, hanging out with his friends. He attends church in Mount Olive Baptist Church in Arlington. And he really enjoys church projects, particularly those of helping people that were affected by the Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. And his future plan is to study physical therapy at Texas Tech University in Lubbock.
That's out in the West Texas. Oh, my, how exciting. And do you have any comments by his school principal?
Yes, Miss Brenner said that she summed it up, I think, very succinctly, that Anthony clearly understands the importance of hard work, leadership, and determination needed to achieve excellence, which he obviously has done. And she says he was a great asset to Grand Prairie High School.
Isn't that wonderful? That is great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a vote of confidence, and we're going to give you a copy of this so that you'll have this for your archives. And now that you're Boy of the Year, I know that there would be a wonderful new bio with all of the other things that had happened to you at Grand Prairie High School, and we have more to talk about. But before we talk a little bit more about you as the Boy of the Year, I'm going to ask Mr. Crabtree to tell us, who does this Boy of the Year thing for us in Grand Prairie, Texas?
We're very fortunate, Ms. Jackson, that we've had a number of great Rotarians in the Grand Prairie Friday Rotary Club that have exhibited our motto of service above self to a very high distinction. And two families of two of our members, Mr. Dewey Miller and Mr. Bud Hardman, dedicated a part of their estates as a endowment fund to furnish scholarships for a outstanding boy from each of our two high schools.
And so when they're chosen, when all of the boys of the month come to your committee, and as you as the chairman of the committee, and Mr. Darren Wilson is your president of the Friday Rotary, then you all make a choice. Isn't that a hard job?
It's very difficult. It is very difficult because all of the boys of the month are extremely qualified, extremely deserving, and it was a long process. We met several hours before we decided on the eventual winners.
Anthony, aren't you glad they chose you? Oh, isn't that wonderful, wonderful. That's great. And with your permission, let's talk a little bit more about the real Anthony. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one sister, Janine Anderson.
All right.
She's 24 years old.
She's 24 years old. Well, she must have been a pretty good role model, because you really did come out very, very well following in her footsteps, right?
Really did.
That's wonderful. All right, the schools you attended in Grand Prairie?
I attended Eisenhower Elementary School, Adams Middle School, the 9th Grade Center, and Grand Prairie High School.
And you were the first class at the 9th grade center, weren't you?
First class,
Oh,
yes.
that is wonderful. And Eisenhower, favorite teacher, favorite subject of all?
I would say my favorite teacher was Miss Jones in her English class.
All right.
Well, she also went to my church, so she could keep an eye on me in the class and at church.
And when you became a Panther and moved over to Adams, was that pretty much of a change from Eisenhower?
It was different, but I did enjoy it.
Favorite teacher, favorite subject?
Favorite teacher, favorite subject. I would say my algebra class with Miss Dickerson, because I had a chance to learn algebra and geometry while I was still in middle school. So it gave me a leg up when I went to high school.
Oh, that was really great. And 9th grade center, moving over to the big campus, but in a kind of a smaller group. You enjoyed that?
I enjoyed it a lot, yes.
Best teacher, best subject?
I would say my favorite teacher was Dr. Price,
Dr. Price.
because my sister had him while she was in high school, and so we kind of shared some of the teaching aspects.
Oh,
yes.
that was great. And then on over into Gopher Land from the 9th grade center, was that pretty much of a change for Anthony?
It was.
It was. Well, that's pretty awesome, wasn't it?
After some adapting, it was an enjoyable experience, yes.
Now that you're graduated, you can tell your favorite teacher, your favorite subject, maybe more than one teacher or subject, someone that really influenced your life from Grand Prairie High School.
I would say, I'm sure you get this a lot, but my favorite teacher was Miss Farr,
Oh,
English teacher.
Georgianne Farr, a Gopher?
Yes, she
Yes.
was.
Okay. English?
Yes.
And of all of the things you've done, your varsity drama, you were the president. Isn't that impressive? Yes, and then show choir, student council, national honor, top 10%, senior class vice president. That was an honor, wasn't it?
Very.
What in the world involved you in poetry?
Poetry was part of our speech and debate.
Speech and debate, so that's sort of in the drama department?
Yes. So
Yes.
while I competed during the year, I was kind of familiar with it. So when I went to UIL, I was that much more prepared.
And the name of your poem?
The Smell of Oranges by J.J. Jonas.
The Smell of Oranges. And was it the poetry, or was it your presentation, you think, that really did catch their eye and ear?
I think it was a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Wasn't that an awesome experience for you? Where did they hold the finals?
The finals, it was in a mass communication building at UT.
At UT?
Yes.
All right, all right. And you were impressed with UT, but not enough to change from the Red Raiders and going to Lubbock and all of this. Why your choice of Texas Tech?
Well, actually, the regional competition was held at Texas Tech.
Oh, it was?
So I've been there a couple of times, and I just fell in love with the campus and the whole atmosphere. And that's where I decided I should spend my collegiate years.
That's wonderful. Tell me about your parents. They must have been very, very supportive, because from what I've heard, they're really proud of you, too.
They're my biggest supporters. Even when I'm gone all the time doing my extracurricular activities, they still support me and make sure that I keep my academic success and stay focused in school.
All right, and this physical therapy, are you going to practice it? Are you going to teach it? What's your future?
I plan to practice it. Eventually, I hope to open my own practice and pursue physical therapy there.
That's wonderful. All right, that sounds like a wonderful, well-rounded resume of high school. Now, let's talk about what you're going to do this summer.
Currently, I also help out with the up-and-coming varsity drama squad at Grand Prairie High School. I still try to keep my connections with the school.
Okay.
And basically, I'm just getting ready to go to college at Texas Tech.
You're not working or anything this summer. You're doing your volunteer work and just getting prepared.
Getting prepared. I'm still looking for a job just to have a little extra spending money before I go off to school. Become a poor college student.
All right, now have you ever worked during the time you were going to school? Have you ever held down a job
I work during the summers.
during the summers?
Last year I worked at Mervin's before it went out of business.
Yes. Well, was that a good experience for you?
I enjoyed it, yes. I like the whole retail service in working those kind of jobs.
Is that because you really are a people person?
I really am.
You really, really are. Now, I just happen to know, I read my agenda of the city council that is meeting this day, the day that we're taping this show, and I believe you have an assignment on the agenda. What are you doing with the city?
I'm speaking on behalf of the Youth Advisory Council to the City Council, and we're just proposing some of our ideas that we had during our meetings, and hopefully we can get some of those approved.
Okay. And you said we. Is there someone else that's joining you to make a presentation?
Well, we have representatives from all the campuses across the GPISD, and I believe the other representative tonight is Arnell Davis from South Grand Prairie High School.
From South Grand Prairie High School, okay. And between the two of y'all are really going to sell the council on what? The fact that we need to notice you, that we need to pay attention, or what?
Or just different things that we noticed in the community that could be improved or just made the city better.
Now, you're leaving Grand Prairie, Texas for a while. Do you ever plan to come back to Grand Prairie, Texas? Will your parents welcome you back after you've finished all of this? And I say, Mom and Dad, I really would like to come back to Grand Prairie and maybe practice my physical therapy.
I do plan to come back after I graduate from Texas Tech, and when I do plan to get my master's, and wherever I go to school for that, I do plan to come back to Grand Prairie.
Now, you heard that, Mr. Bill Crabtree.
I did.
Yes, we have that on television, tape, and all of the, that just sounds just really wonderful. I'd like for you to look out into your camera, and I'd like for you to thank some of the people that made some things possible for you, especially your parents and maybe your favorite mentors, and if you have a grandparent or someone like that, I'd like for you to take just a moment or two to say a thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank God, and then I'd like to thank my friends and family, my mom and my dad, and my sister who's always encouraging me and supporting me. I'd just like to thank everybody who's been a part of my life, because everyone has helped me grow and become the person who I am today. Thanks.
That's wonderful. Now, Mr. Crabtree, what do you think about Rotary? Don't you think that this is one of the most important projects that you have, other than the golf tournament you're getting ready to have?
Absolutely, Ms. Jackson. The more that we can help contribute to our youngsters and the community's success, then that is a project that we hold very dear to our hearts. And I think the people out there who tonight getting to meet Anthony can see the caliber and quality of some of our youngsters in the school district, and it is certainly Rotary's privilege to play a small part in enabling you to go out to Texas Tech.
Thanks.
Well, in 1985 was the first year that Rotary decided to sponsor the Boys of the Month. Seroptimus and the Girls of the Month have been sponsored for years and years. And I want to thank Mr. Dan Clemson for twisting the arm of the Rotary, because I begged him, I said, please, we need to salute the Boys of the Month. And I didn't know y'all were going to come up and give twice as the amount of scholarships that we give to the Girls of the Month, because the Rotary Club has lots of money and they are so wonderful to share it. Isn't that great?
It really is.
Really is great. I want to thank you too, Mr. Bill Crabtree, for not only this year's selection of the Boys of the Year from the Boys of the Month that come to you from the Grand Prairie ISD, but the fact that you have chosen some very able young men. And thank you for all the time that you give, and for the time that you're going to give next year as the chairman for the Boys of the Month and Boys of the Year next year. And Anthony, bless you. The Lord will bless you, because you have such a good heart, and you are just ready for this world. And we're ready for you to go sick 'em and just do the best that you can in Lubbock. I would like to have had a higher education system in Grand Prairie, Texas, where you could have gone to a university in Grand Prairie, but that wasn't the will of the people or the world these days. And so thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. Would you like to shake hands with Mr. Crabtree? That's the young man that put you on the spot here today. Thank you very much. and we'll be right back with the rest of our Boys of the Year.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it either.
I wouldn't do it.
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 You know I'd never do it.
Don't mess with Texas. I wouldn't do it. Don't mess with Texas.
As we continue our special spotlight on Boys of the Year for the Grand Prairie ISD, sponsored by the Grand Prairie Friday Rotary Club, we are very excited. We have the wonderful Boy of the Year from South Grand Prairie High School, and we are so pleased to introduce him. And Scott Gaskell,
Thanks for having me.
we've been looking for you for a long time, young man, and congratulations on being the Boy of the Year.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And we also have on the desk today Mr. Bill Crabtree, as we said, lovingly known as Dr. Crabtree. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for being the chairman that was the chairman of the committee that chose the Boys of the Year.
Right.
And we're going to let you do the honor of reading his bio today, Mr. Crabtree, sir.
That'd be my pleasure, Ms. Jackson. Scott was the April Boy of the Month at South Grand Prairie High School. And some of his activities include being the head drum major of the South Grand Prairie Marching Warrior Band. That's close?
Yeah.
And was that very, very exciting,
Oh,
Scott?
I loved it. Yeah.
Oh,
It made the band so much better. It was so more exciting.
Yes. All right.
A lot of
And-
responsibility, I
Yeah.
would think,
Yeah.
what goes along with that job, too.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
Well, good.
And would you name his parents for me, please?
Steve and Cindy Gaskell.
Cindy, I couldn't do without Cindy. She keeps in touch. Thank you very much,
bet.
Cindy.
Scott was also part of the Media Tech group at South, and he was also a member of what South calls their SET, which is the Student Empowerment Team.
Yes.
And his primary hobby or activity is First Baptist Church of Grand Prairie, where he is very active in the Choraleer, which is the youth choir program.
All right.
And I understand that's where you're working this summer, is that correct?
I'm working up at the church.
Okay.
Yes.
And his future plans include to attend Dallas Baptist University and become a minister. And I certainly congratulate you on that goal.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And do you have something? We must read what the
Yes, Miss.
principal has said.
Ms. Bridges said Scott has been an excellent student. He took all advanced courses, places a high value on his academics. His senior year in leading the band was a very time-consuming commitment on his part, serving as drum major and as the band vice president. He is very popular among his classmates. He's a very mature and responsible person. And Ms. Bridges says Scott is extremely talented, smart, creative, and works well with all types of people.
Isn't that wonderful? Now, and what we're going to do, we're going to give that one to Scott. Scott doesn't have a copy of that to put in his archives, and see, you have everything wonderful that the principal has said about you and some of the details about your bio. But with your permission now, may I interview him a little bit more thoroughly? Is that acceptable, Scott?
Let's go.
All right, let's go. All right. Do you have brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 3 sisters.
Would you name them?
Okay, my sisters are Robin, Karen, and Julie.
Robin, Karen, Julie. Are they in school or out of school?
They're all older than me. One is in college. She's about to graduate, and the rest have already moved on from college.
That's wonderful. Oh, you had 3 wonderful role models, didn't
Yes.
you? Yes. Besides Cindy, your mom.
Of course.
Oh, yes. And your dad, too, of course, yes. All right. Name me the schools you attended in Grand Prairie.
I went to Garner Elementary, Colin Powell Elementary, Truman Middle School, and South Grand Prairie High School.
And did you go to the 9th grade center?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. All right. Were you the first class to go through that
I was
9th
the
grade
first
center?
class.
Okay, 9th grade center. Okay. In Garner,
Mhm.
starting out in school, favorite teacher, someone that really was a mentor, helped you through elementary?
Probably Miss McDowell. I remember her the most of all my teachers there. I was only there for 3 years.
All right,
until-
but then you went to Powell.
Yes, I was one of the first classes that was there when it was first built.
Yes.
So that was exciting. And I guess
Yeah.
my favorite teacher there would have been Miss Marcelino.
All right.
Yeah, she brought a creative, creative thing to how we would learn. And it was
Yes.
really exciting to go to that class.
Oh, that is wonderful. All right, and then on to Truman. What happened when you left the little old elementary, go to the big middle school?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Pretty awesome?
Yeah, it wasn't as good as high school, but it was a lot better than elementary school.
Yes, yes. And a favorite teacher there, favorite subjects, develop any new things that we need to know about?
It was probably a tie between my theater teacher and my band teacher, Miss McClellan and Mr. Barton. Those were the two activities I was real involved in.
Yes.
I loved both of those teachers.
Kind of got you on the right track for this band business?
Yes.
Yes, that's wonderful. And after leaving Truman and going to the 9th grade center out on the big campus of Warriorland next
Yes.
door, what'd you think about 9th grade center?
Oh, it was exciting. My sister was in high school at the same time, so that made it much better. So I already knew some people going in, and
Oh, great.
yeah, so I enjoyed it.
Yes, favorite teacher, favorite subject.
Probably in 9th grade was Miss Neely, and she moved on to be one of our assistant principals, but I really enjoyed her class, her English class.
Yes, that's wonderful. All right, then next door, became a full-fledged warrior.
Oh, yeah.
First year on campus at at South Grand Prairie High School. What was it like?
Oh, it was intimidating, It seemed like I was walking in a museum that was so big, and I was afraid I was going to get lost all my classes.
Yes.
That was the one thing I was worried about.
Yes. And as you began in your first year over there, did you start developing new friends and new interests in your choices of subjects?
Oh, yeah. I think, at first I was just interested in band and theater going into high school, but then I, broadened my horizons and got involved in media tech and made a lot of new friends in there and in other places.
Tell me about Media Tech, Mr. Beals.
Oh, that class made high school so much more fun. It was great really getting experience to work with, cameras, and we had a lot of resources that other schools aren't lucky enough to have. And Mr. Beals was a great teacher, and he taught us well.
Yes. He read your bio when you didn't show up for the interview as Boy
Yeah.
of the Month, but that's acceptable because
Yeah.
he really did a good job. He painted a very wonderful picture of you, said you were a wonderful student.
Yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
to thank him for that.
That's good, that's good. And then Media Tech, you're not going in that direction, but you think you might use this in your other life when you become a minister and do
Yeah.
everything at DBU?
I learned a lot of, speaking skills and stuff to talk to cameras that I could use with people too, and just other stuff I might use throughout the years.
Yes. Okay. That sounds wonderful. The student empowerment team, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the SET program is mostly about mentoring children. We go to the elementary schools.
Where did you go?
I went to Florence Hill, Powell, Dickinson, several schools.
And had that opportunity to meet young folks?
It was great. You really
Did
get
you
to
feel like big man on campus when you go out to these elementaries and help them? And
Yeah, and
feel-
it was always great to see the kids' faces light up when I would come get them, and it made the day so much better.
That was
So.
good. That was a good progress. Okay, let's see if there's anything else that I need to pick your brain for before we get off into this. At the end of school, you've just graduated, and now what are you going to do this summer?
Well, I'm working a lot,
Tell me what you're doing.
I work at my church, First Baptist Church Grand Prairie.
All
and
right.
I work at Summer Sunshine. It's a daycare.
All right.
And I'm a counselor for kids from kindergarten up to 5th grade.
Yes. All right. And you're developing all these skills as you're going along.
Yes, it's a blast. I love working with kids. So
And at one time, you might have been considering going to another university other than DBU. What clued you in on that wonderful school that's over on the hill?
well, first, it was two big reasons. One, my mom got a job there, and that took away a lot of the financial pressure that
Yes.
Baylor had. But then I really felt, a calling to be at DBU, and really following God's plan. That's where He led me to go.
Yes, that's wonderful. And after you become a minister, do you want to preach for churches, or do you might decide that you want to teach?
I feel probably most likely I'll end up being a preacher. That's what I really have a passion for.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Well, is there anything that I've overlooked that we need to talk about, Mr. Bell?
Ms. Jackson, I think you've covered it. It's certainly been a pleasure to visit with these two young men again, and the Rotary Club is just very proud and to help sponsor in terms of scholarship monies to enable them to go on and further their
Yes.
lives with their post-secondary education, and we congratulate them.
thank you.
And would you also let him know the two families that are responsible for the Friday Rotary's endowments that they have to be able to furnish these scholarships to two young men?
Sure. Scott, we had two longtime Rotarians in the Friday Club. One, Mr. Dewey Miller from Miller's Drug Store, that was his venture, and also Mr. Bud Hardman. And the families of those two outstanding Rotarians took an endowment and gave that to the Friday Rotary Club, in which we invest, of course, and then we use the interest off of that to fund the two $1,000 scholarships each year, one to each high school. So it's our pleasure to do that for you, and we thank those two families.
Yes, that's wonderful. Now, Scott, I want you to look out into your camera number 2.
Okay.
I want you to do a nice thank you to your parents, to any of your special teachers, to any of your special friends that have kind of helped you along the way, all the way from Garner up through South Grand Prairie High School. Would you do that for me in about a minute and a half?
Oh, okay, I can try that. First off, I'd just like to thank my family and friends, for always being there, and especially my mom and dad for this journey for the past 18 years. And, it's sad to leave high school and everybody around here, but I'm really excited to move on, and thanks for all the support, and I hope to do big things and make you all proud.
Any teachers or anyone you want to remember in this fine farewell?
Probably if Mr. Beals is watching, he was my favorite teacher from all of school, and I'd just like to thank him. He really helped me, guide my life and stuff like that.
That is really wonderful. That's a wonderful tribute, isn't it? Well, we want to thank you for being here today, and we're going to wish you Godspeed in your choice of being a minister, because I think that's about the highest calling that many of us think that you can have. We also wish for you not only a wonderful life in the ministry, but your influence will be spread and rippled and rippled and re-rippled. There's just no telling where it'll go, right?
That's right.
Is there anything you'd like to encourage him about, Mr. Bill, before we leave the set?
Mr. Jackson, I think he's got enough self-motivation that he's going to accomplish everything on his own. I don't know that he will need a lot of help from me.
Yes, and you're going to continue working in the nursery portion of First Baptist Church until you start to college.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll probably be working in a church from here on out. So.
That is really good. That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank you both, and it's been wonderful to have you with us, and we're going to close the show since this is a history show. This is Ruthie Jackson reminding you that history is as we live and do, and that we document it correctly. Thank you for being with us for this special salute on Boys of the Year.